Hey everybody, it's Marie. I'm talking about And Just Like That, Season 3, Episode 4, Apples to Apples. This particular episode is at least a little bit more exciting. Really, the only story here that matters is Carrie's story. Every other story is just bullshit filler. I don't know, maybe the Golden Blots are going through some stuff, but yeah, at least I'll say this episode at least had some interesting moments and kept me awake. I did do the live Hate Watch show with Mike Harlow yesterday. I do again recommend watching Mike Harlow on his locals. I'll put the links in the comments. Every Thursday night as the show goes live. It is pretty fun to hate watch it live. Okay, so we start off. Carrie wakes up in the guest house, and she's in Virginia. This is the big Aiden Shaw family disaster in Virginia episode. Now, somehow, it was not okay for Carrie to sleep in the main house or to see the kids at night, but it's totally okay for these kids to paint just outside her window and look at her while she sleeps in the guest house. So friggin' creepy. So Carrie wakes up and all of a sudden Wyatt is peeking in her window. Thankfully, she's fully dressed. It's so friggin' stupid. These people make no sense. Okay. Miranda is at Carrie's house with Shu. She's bonding with Carrie's cat, and it's nice to see that, I guess. LTW can't sleep. Well, let me just go through these other storylines real quick. Miranda, she decides has a whole gig where she's doing some speaking thing. She's being recorded by BBC. She gets to meet up with Joy again and doing those breathing exercises that Joy advises her on. She accidentally says, instead of like wild countryside, she accidentally says wild cunt. And this becomes she turns into a whole meme. So she's trying to invite Joy over to Carrie's place, and Carrie doesn't have any furniture, so it's kind of a dumb idea anyway. And Joy kind of blows her off, so she can't get out of hanging out with all of her friends. So Miranda invites all of Joy's friends over to Carrie's house. They all have drinks, and Joy spends the whole night looking like she's having the most miserable time of her life. She's on the other side of the kitchen. She's giving everybody the stink eye. She looks just like no fun at all. And then afterwards, Miranda is just knows that it's because she's now a meme. And this is a meme that we get Brady back. He calls his mom like, "Wow, you're a meme. You're the wild cunt lady." And now everybody knows Miranda is the wild cunt lady. I personally always knew Miranda as the wild cunt lady, but now she's worried that Joy doesn't like her because of that, and then Joy is like, "Oh no, it's just when I like somebody, I just, blow everybody off. I push everybody away." In other words, when she likes somebody, she acts like a pouty toddler. Oh, what fun. What fun is Joy. And then she tells Miranda, "Oh, but I'm a real bad kisser." And then Miranda's like, "Liar." But when she's kissing Miranda, her lips are like just underneath her nose. She's like basically kissing that upper lip area just under the nose. And yes, Joy, you look like a bad kisser. So Joy looks like a whole bunch of fun, and I already hate this character already. Don't care about that anymore. All right, now LTW. Like, I don't know why we care about LTW anymore at all. Like, she is really ridiculous at this point. It's just uninteresting. She's not an interesting character. She's not tied into anybody in any real way. But she can't sleep. She's sleeping in her wig. So in this episode, every time she's asleep, she's got that shake and go wig on. She's sleeping next to Herbert. She's talking in her sleep. She's like, "Hey, hey, hey," saying all sorts of stuff. Obviously, it's going to be said. So, who cares? She's trying to find another editor. Then the editor that she picks is this Marion. She thinks Marion is a woman. Marion is apparently like a hot dude. Everybody's going off about how hot this guy Marion is. I don't know. I think Herbert, her husband, is much hotter. This guy's wearing like dangle down earrings and stuff. I don't know. Marion's not my cup, but she was, LTW's like, should I even hire a man? It's a woman. It's a documentary about women. So like, and just like that, we hate men. Men shouldn't really be doing anything for us or with us or about us. So obviously, she doesn't want Marion, but Marion is so charming and even knows Grace, her old editor, because apparently editors and directors play softball games against each other. Apparently, this is a thing. I don't know. But she's talking in her sleep. She doesn't want a sleep divorce. Herbert needs to get sleep. Herbert wants to sleep in the guest room. She doesn't want that because it causes a sleep divorce. I think we all know where this is going. Eventually, she's going to start saying Marion in her sleep or whatever. It's just it's dumb and who cares? And I mean I like Herbert. Herbert's like the most likable new character. Honestly, I think that they've brought us, but I don't know him that well. I'm not invested in these characters. I don't need these completely unrelated side stories that who cares? Okay, let's see. Now let's get Seema out of the way. Seema has maybe the most useless story of them all this week. She's moving onward and upward, and the new partner, the guy that Elliot sold all of his shares to, is kind of being a prick to Seema and offers to have her not offers, really asks her fairly aggressively to join his team to still work with him. She's saying, nah, not really. And he's like, okay, well then you better move then my people need this office space. And for some reason, Seema's in a different office than she was last year. Last year she had a much better office. Now she's in this weird small office that has a fabric picture that kind of looks like a giant butthole. So Seema's on her way out. As she leaves, she does the whole Jerry Maguire thing where she tries to pull this the assistant that she has, saying, someone believed in me once and I believe in you, and you can come with me and we'll build this thing together. And the chick's like, dude, listen, I have $3,000 a month for my apartment. You're not paying for that. And so yeah, Seema goes on by herself. Okay, so more interesting is the Golden Blats, I suppose. Weird but interesting. Harry's father, Pop Pop, is coming over for an early dinner. And apparently there's some sort of service in the like website inside their building where everybody in the building like shares stuff that they have. And like if somebody's out of bananas and there's a neighbor, 10F, that needs bananas all the time, and they always have too much bananas and enough to make banana nut bread. The Golden Blats have an embarrassment of riches in bananas. Yeah, I can't believe they write this shit. And another person wants their banana, and so Rock says, "We have banana." I mean, I don't know. So Pop Pop, all right. Pop Pop. They also Lily's boyfriend. Lily wants to introduce her boyfriend to the family too. So can Lily boyfriend show up, the ballet dancer, to this dinner? Why, yes, of course. Let's have everybody there, and Anthony and Giuseppe, because they're there at every time these people eat. Okay. So they have this big dinner. Pop Pop's there. Lily's boyfriend there, and well, there's the neighbor starts ringing the doorbell, and Pop Pop has a banana in his hand, and neighbor rings the doorbell. Pop Pop answers the door to this like old lady neighbor who needs a banana, and he just hands her like, oh, what a miracle! I happen to have a banana in my hand. Come join us for dinner. And apparently this is like something that they've been wanting to do, this storyline with the banana. When the writers' room, they've been wanting to do this for the last 3 years. I can't even with these people. Like, we got to figure out that clever banana story. I mean, and we're watching it live. There's like a group of us watching this live, like hate watching live with this fucking banana. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, why? Like, is this funny? Like, this makes zero, like, I don't know. I don't think I think they could have waited 4 or 5 more years. I don't think they needed to have the banana gag, but we get the banana gag. And then they're all eating dinner, and they say that, oh, Lily's new boyfriend is a ballet dancer, and Pop Pop goes, hey, in my day ballet dancers used to date boys, and he's like, oh, I date boys too. I have a boyfriend as well as, and he announces that he's, you know they make an indication that he and Lily are like officially boyfriend and girlfriend, and Lily seems surprised by the officialness, and she's like giggling like a happy girl. Oh, I am his girlfriend, okay. And then he announces he also has a boyfriend. And of course, Harry and Charlotte are doing this thing like, oh, obviously that's really fucked up, but they can't say that. So they're like, oh my gosh, I can't. Okay, we've got to be liberal and just go with anything now because there are words for it. It doesn't matter what your behavior is, as long as there's words for it, it's okay and acceptable. So Rock informs everybody, yes, he's polyamorous, which means he is sexually attracted to multiple people at the same time. It got, it's so annoying. I'm so tired. And I granted, look, Lily is being played by a 29, a woman pushing 30. Lily in real life is old enough to buy her own drinks and probably old enough to have graduated college by now. But Lily, the character, is still, I'm going to say, like 17 years old. She's like next year is her senior year in high school. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really down with this. Let's do polyammo in high school and just like date everybody and, make out furiously. And let's bring mama out to get us some more condoms while I'm also doing this with God knows who because I'm attracted to everybody. Back in my day, I had to be like the old lady here. Back in my day, they used to call that a hoa. You can't even just, you're only attracted to multiple people. Like, that that's a phase you go through later in life, right? When you're trying to make it work with a partner who's not that into you. That's what polyamory. I know I'm gonna get hell for that. Okay, I'm sure there are people who have polyamorous relationships that work long term. I just personally haven't ever seen it. I've seen many of my friends and acquaintances have gone poly at certain times, but it's usually after some sort of or during some sort of painful breakup or divorce or long-term relationship that is turning into a situationship. It's complicated sort of thing, and then they find somebody they actually like and then they just stick to that person. But I don't know. I don't think that this is necessarily, and I don't. I guess it's okay for kids to like date around, cool. But as it's when they start introducing sex and all that, and I don't know. Even that's kind of gross. You're making out with like a whole bunch of different people all the time. Like I don't know, kid. I think these parents can be a little bit old fashioned. They don't have to be super accepting liberal of every stupid thing their kids say because there's some sort of defined word for it. Oh, it's so gross. All right, so this show is gonna turn. I was pretty hardcore liberal until this show started. I swear to God, it's turning me conservative. I'm gonna be like a Mormon wife after this. I swear. Uh, all right, so then even sadder. Later, Charlotte and Harry they have sex, or they try to. Harry now has ED. Now they've made poor Harry piss himself last week. This week he can't get it up, and he's worried. He's obsessed. He's focused entirely on Pop Pop. He's talking about he doesn't want to get old like Pop Pop. Pop Pop used to be so virile. Pop Pop used to, apparently his dad's a real horn dog, and he wants to be more like Pop Pop. And he's comparing his dick to his. I'm like, come on, like you guys are thinking way too much about your parents while you are in bed and naked down there and about to do it. And then Charlotte talks to him, is like, well, we're getting a certain age doesn't mean that we're not going to be connected to each other just because you have ED. I mean that happens. Men eventually they kind of run out of blanks, right? Like some guys get ED earlier, or it's not as even or consistent. Okay, it's something with age, right? So you got to kind of he's not ready for it. He's okay. I mean, he just pissed himself. Like, why are they doing this to Harry? But so Rock comes in because they asked Rock to fix Pop Pop's his iPad. his tablet. His tablet's all locked up. He has a million screens on there. He can't get it fixed. So they hand it to Rock to fix. Rock comes in and says, well, the reason is because Grandpa has all this porn. It's Pop Pop has all this porn. It's locked up the whole screen. And so yeah, this 13-year-old kid walking around with all this hardcore Pornhub stuff. The parents take it away from her and lock it up and give it back. Have her give it back to the grandpa. And then we find she's like, well, where is Grandpa? Well, Grandpa's out shagging the chick at 10F, the banana lady. And so all of a sudden, Harry's like happy again. Oh, the old man still got it. Okay, I'm okay. Now I'm getting a little concerned because next week, the preview for next week's episode has Harry looking very, very concerned and talking to Charlotte about something incredibly important. And if they kill off Harry, if they give him cancer, now I know the guy who plays him, Evan Handler, he actually has already been a cancer survivor. One of his big stories is like growing up. I think he was a kid, like a child with cancer that grew up out of it or, beat it and then, kind of went on to have this acting career after he was a cancer survivor. But they better not kill off Harry. They better not do to Harry what they did to Big. I'm not ready for Harry to go. Harry can, but they don't need to make him lame. Like somehow Herbert is cool. Can we make like Harry like a little cooler and just like normal? I mean, he's such a nice guy. He's so loving. Don't wreck Harry, please. Okay. So now the big story. Let's get back to Carrie. Carrie wakes up. The kid's looking at her at her through the window. She gets up and she's in the same outfit she was the night before. This I don't know, like a cardigan thing, like an overshirt on this sexy long pink gown with the boobs out, and these really tall heels, these Trojan heels that are wildly ridiculous for anything. And this is again the constant new theme of Sex in the City. I'm sorry, and Just Like That, where the fashion is used to carry the comedy, and these women are always wildly dressed, like incredibly inappropriately for whatever they're being asked to do. And now she's going to be on a farm with these heels all the time because, God forbid, yeah. And I know she doesn't have her luggage. They still didn't figure out how to get her luggage back, and not that that would help, I'm sure. But she goes out there. She says hi to the sons. Now, right now, we have Wyatt, who is the 14-year-old who is a total monster. And then we have Homer. Homer is 17 years old. Homer is just the nicest guy. He's just this cute, nice kid. Everybody loves Homer. And he's making everybody breakfast and pancakes, and I was kind of excited to see the interior of Aiden's home. Again, reminder, Aiden was this big deal furniture designer that sold his line to West Elm, and now he's loaded in money. And his ex-wife is a textile designer, started off as a furniture designer, and then by the time Sex and the City, the second movie came out, it was changed that she wasn't no longer a furniture designer, but a textile designer. So I was expecting some real cool stuff in this house. There's very little cool stuff, anything in this house. It's very basic. It's like they bought all the furniture at Cracker Barrel, and there's like one ugly chair that like really ugly chair that gets a little bit of notice in here. It's when Bob, and we'll get to Bob later, but Bob sits in like this hideously ugly chair. But yeah, I was excited to see it. It's really basic bitch in there. And Aiden asked Carrie to stay for like basically until Tuesday. So I don't know, I assume a few days. Because his oldest son Tate is having a 21st birthday party. He's coming home from UVA. He goes to the University of Virginia, and they're going to have a birthday party for him, and he'd like her to stick around until then. When she's like, okay, great, no problem. But she doesn't have any clothes. Is there a place nearby she can get clothes? Anything within there was a big rainstorm apparently that I don't know. They came there on a clear night. This is the next morning, and it was a clear morning. Apparently there was a rain that happened so quickly, so fast over that night that all the roads are flooded. can, if she can't walk on the road. Okay, so now we got to put Carrie on an ATV, and she borrows some of Wyatt's clothes. So, or not Wyatt, Homer's clothes. So she has like an old baseball shirt and jeans and stuff. She looks really cute. It looks really cute on her. But of course, she's got these stupid, stupid heels on while riding this ATV because the roads are all muddy. Now, again, there's no rain, there's no muddy, everything's a clear, beautiful day. The roads are dry, but okay. They needed this ATV, and if you hear them talk about this in the writer's room, they're all swooning over the genius of Michael Patrick King on getting Carrie on an ATV. And guys, she stands there, she sits there on an ATV. They put a helmet on her. She goes forward over a hill at about like 5 miles an hour. It's not comedy gold. It's not a huge payoff. It's really a who cares moment. But the people in the writer's room act as if this is the most unbelievable, genius thing. They can't believe the brilliance of Michael Patrick King. It is like, all right, so she takes an ATV to the store nearby, and she calls it the Sisters' Wives Shop, and it has all these sort of little house on the prairie, these old-fashioned dresses, and she comes back in this real stupid dress, and she calls it Little House on the Carry, and again with the hooker heels, and then, and I don't know, these kids, all right, so Aiden keeps telling these kids to paint this house that doesn't need painting. The house is already freshly painted, and he's having both of his children, both Homer and Wyatt, to keep painting this house because it gets Wyatt out of his head. Wyatt needs to be away from his screens. Wyatt has problems, he's addicted to screen time. He wants him to just keep painting. And so he lies and he tells these kids that I'm going swimming and Carrie's going for a nap so that they can sneak away and have sex with each other. And after they're done having sex with each other, he asks Carrie if Carrie can spend some time with the kids, just like a special day, all just her and the kids. And I guess Aiden just, does more chores around the house that don't need to be done. I guess he's painting the inside of the garage that also doesn't need to be painted. These people are just like OCD. Let's just go outside and paint and paint and paint. So Carrie's like, all right. So she goes out fishing with Wyatt and Homer, and Wyatt's not having any fun, and Wyatt's like, God, like Carrie's like, oh, I hope I catch a trout, or I hope I catch a salmon. It's the only fish I know how to cook. It's the only thing I know how to cook, and Wyatt's like, God, we're not in Alaska. All you're gonna get is trout out here. It's Virginia. God, like Wyatt's just a whole total prick, and Homer's like, yeah, stop being a prick, kid. She's just making a joke. And Carrie's like, and Wyatt's like, I hate fishing. And so Carrie's like, so what do you want to do? Like, if you don't like fishing, like, I'm up for it. And so he's like, I want to go do zombie attack. There's this VR thing at a mall nearby. And I'm like thinking, hey, Carrie, if they're at a mall, you can get shoes. We're not going to get that. We're going to have the hooker heels the whole time. But they go to this thing for VR, and they all wear headsets. And at first Aiden's like, no, he's just trying to get screen time. You can't have him there. They go anyway, and they play VR. And during the VR, in a totally normal kind of rational kind of move, they're all attacking zombies or whatever. And Wyatt accidentally hits Carrie in the head. Trying he swung his arm to get to a zombie or shoot a zombie or whatever. And it's a totally natural, normal sort of move. It doesn't look like he hit her hard at all. He profusely starts apologizing, like, I didn't mean it. I'm not a violent person. Like he was under attack somehow. And it was, totally normal. But Carrie's just like, oh, I can't even touch my head. I feel like I'm a villain if I even touch my head. And it's like, she's acting like she had to stop for the day. She's acting like she's all concussed. It was such a nothing hit, and just so Carrie wants to be a big baby about it. Carrie wants to be the center of the universe about such a mild occurrence, but because she is she is kind of still passively aggressively doing it, but because she's not overtly making the entire thing about her all the time, It's like we're supposed to be on her side. We're supposed to root for her because, oh wow, Carrie's thinking about other people for once. Shows real growth. And by the way, again, the writer's room, they're constantly talking about how adult and how grown and how much growth Carrie has had to have a lot of these conversations. And I'm like, seriously, this is not, I mean, this is, she should have, this is so ridiculous. This is not, I mean, if this is the level of growth you expect in a woman who's, I guess she's still playing a 56-year-old. Sarah Jessica Parker is 60. Like, this is really stupid. So, like, how to not be the center of attention all the friggin' time. Uh, Nuts. So they get through the VR nonsense of it all. And then they go and eventually they get to the 21st birthday, this big picnic table. And now Carrie's in a chicer dress. You know, there's better clothes that was at that store. And it's starting to actually kind of look very pretty. And a lot of these kind of looks are actually hitting the runways again, weirdly enough. So she's starting to actually kind of look modern and pretty in this white lace dress. But they have a big picnic table set out. It looks very beautiful and idyllic. And Tate shows up with some beer because he can drink now. And he's joined by Kathy and Kathy's boyfriend, Bob. And we knew from last year, last season, that Kathy is always in China or England with her textile thing or off with her boyfriend. So we find out, we get to meet Bob, her boyfriend, find out that they've been together for 4 years. So after the picnic table, they adjourn inside and they start opening presents for Tate's birthday. And Bob is sitting with Carrie off in the corner. He's very conspiratorial. Obviously, he has issues being part of this family dynamic and is already like jumping to be sneaky with Carrie and get a little co-conspirator. And he's like, yeah, this is a hard family to get into. Okay, so first off, no, they aren't. They clearly are not. Tate and Homer are incredibly welcoming. Kathy's very nice. Kathy's like really up in your grill. Wyatt is the problem child. There's a problem child, but I'm telling you, as a stepmother and people, you know, anybody who's been in a divorced house with a bunch of step parents or boyfriend girlfriends of parents or what have you, it's actually pretty rare that everybody gets together to celebrate things beyond weddings and graduations. Like normally, a kid like this would probably have a celebration, you know, with his dad and Carrie, and then with Kathy and Bob, they would have separate celebrations for this. But everybody just being all together and with Carrie never having been part of the full dynamic before, for a birthday party, that's a pretty opening, welcoming group of people who have their shit together in general, and you get the sense that they get along. So I'm like, well, what's Bob talking about? And then Bob's like, and Bob's in the ugliest chair ever. Again, I assume this is an Aiden design or some sort of, I don't know. I assume that Aiden and Kathy maybe designed this ugly thing. And if that's the kind of fabric Kathy's designing, she should really rethink her life. But they're sitting there chatting, and Bob is going on about, oh, my opinion is not valid or valued. Aiden sometimes doesn't like to hear me talk. Well, yeah, you're a step parent, and here's the thing. I love being a stepmother. It's been my true greatest honor ever in life. But if you are a single person and you become a step parent, you go from being the most important person in your own world to being the least important person ever, because you take priority after the children. You take priority after the parents, and not just the parent that you are with, but like, in my case, I have a husband. I take prior, he takes prior, his opinions are definitely, like, my opinions, they're noted with thanks, are my opinion, like most step parents, right? And then your life revolves around, like in this case, like a biological mother. A biological mother is usually going to have the first say of anything, and then the father, and then, and then the kids, and then your schedule just has to wrap around all of theirs or it doesn't. All right. So it's wonderful. It's a really great. It can be very great in many many ways. Don't get me wrong. But if you are somebody like Carrie, if you are somebody who has to make every topic of conversation about you, if you are somebody who is inclined to be just incredibly self-absorbed the way Carrie is, step parenting would have to be your biggest nightmare, because all of a sudden nothing you say is going to be as important as everybody else in the room. So she finds out with Bob. Bob's just like, oh, Aiden doesn't care about my opinion. Aiden, in fact, we were all like, Aiden didn't want the Adderall. Aiden doesn't want Wyatt to have Adderall. But like Kathy and I say, if the doctor says he has ADHD, he needs, medication. So, thanks for bringing that over for us, Carrie. And Carrie like stops right away. She gets up and she goes straight to the kitchen, and of course makes it all about himself. Now, herself. Now, Aiden is lighting the candles of Tate's cake. It's Tate's 21st birthday. They got a cake made. He's lighting the candles for it. They're about to sing happy birthday. But in this moment, Carrie has to stop and tell Aiden, no, 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 I didn't know. I had no idea you didn't like Adderall. Why didn't you tell me? I wouldn't have brought it over. You understand that, right? Like, I wouldn't have done this against you without you knowing. And he's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, look, Carrie, okay, we can talk about this later. We're in the middle of a birthday party. I'm trying to get this cake out to this kid. Now, kind of weird that they do the cake after the presents. It's usually the opposite wherever I've been, but okay. But they get the cake out, and Carrie has to put herself to a side and not obsess and ruminate over something really minor. So they go on with their evening and they start playing some game called Apples to Apples. I'm not familiar with it. It seems like fun, but I guess you're supposed to like pick cards and people win based on whose cards you pick, based on how those cards relate to how you feel about something. I don't know. But Wyatt is upset. The family's having a good giggly time. Bob isn't part of the family. Bob is off on his phone, messing around, like outside of the room, like over somewhere else, which is not a good look. You don't do that. You join in with the family, Bob. Get on it. I can see why they don't really like Bob. So they're playing apples to apples. Wyatt's having a hissy fit because nobody ever picks me. Nobody ever picks my cards. And he starts, this is a stupid game. I want to leave it anyway. And like Tate and Homer are giving him a hard time. Like, oh my God, you're such an incredible, you know, ridiculous bitch, basically. I'm paraphrasing here. But they're like, oh, boo-hoo, your parents got divorced. Wah, 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 everybody gets, it's fine, dude. Like, they're making fun of him. They're saying, stop ruining all of our nights. Wyatt, you pain in the ass. And Wyatt goes off. They start yelling, and Wyatt is outside. He leaves the room, goes outside, is on the outside of the house, looking through the window, and I think it's Homer says, "Fuck you, Wyatt." And then Wyatt takes like one of those painting rolls, and he knocks through the window. He breaks the window, and he's like, "Fuck you, fuck you all, fuck all of you," and then he runs off, breaks the window. Just it's a pretty big moment, and you see Carrie just shrinking in her chair. Like Carrie's like, uh-oh, what'd I get into? This psycho family. And then they all start yelling at each other, and Aiden, Kathy's like, you see this behavior indicates he needs medication. I'm tired of this. If the doctor says he has ADHD, he should be medicated. And then Aiden is just like, oh, I don't appreciate you bringing Carrie into this and making Carrie your mule. And then everybody just gets in a fight. Everybody storms off. And Aiden just ditches Carrie. Carrie's like just sort of quiet, like sitting there, like, doesn't know what happened. And Aiden is just like, well, I got to go for a swim for real. And he just leaves her to go swimming. So she goes up into the guest room and just crawls inside her own skin, I guess, because, yeah, I mean, she finally realizes, okay, this is not about me. I'm stepping away now. I'm getting away from the crazy train. And yeah, she needs to run fast, run far. Eventually, Aiden comes back and she's like, look, I realize now that you do really need to take care of your kids here, that this isn't just a joke. I was thinking that you were over exaggerating. No, you need to be with these kids full time, and I don't need to be any part of this. She gives him a key to the house anyway. She gives him the key, just saying, look, if you just come, don't come out of guilt or obligation. Come if ever you need to see me. But she's like, I've been holding off furnishing this thing. I've been holding off. I still have mattresses on their side upstairs. I've been holding off on living my life because I keep waiting. I've been playing the waiting game, and she's like, I'm not playing it any longer. Don't feel bad. I love you. It's great, but bye. And then she goes off on an airplane, and she looks at that ugly dining room table again, see if she wants to buy it, and it already sold. So hopefully we'll have Carrie's house is going to be decorated nicely here. Maybe she goes home, bangs the gardener. Although it does seem again that they're really queuing up this gardener Adam for SEMA next week. It sounds like LTW is going to get more involved with this Marion guy. I don't know what's going on for the Goldenblatts, but they better not come for Harry. Otherwise, besides this, and it was a pretty intense. People were really reacted in the live hate watch party. They really reacted strongly to the whole Wyatt story. So, I mean, that is kind of profound. But now it looks like Carrie's going to date a neighbor, and it's going to get boring again. So we'll see what happens. Until next week, and thanks for sticking with it, guys.